The unexpected creation. In the bustling metropolis of Neo-Shanghai, where towering skyscrapers pierced the smog-laden sky and hovercars zipped between buildings like metallic fireflies, 16-year-old Zara Chen toiled away in her makeshift workshop. The small, cluttered space was tucked away in the basement of her family's modest apartment, hidden from the prying eyes of neighbors and authorities alike. Zara's fingers flew across holographic interfaces, her augmented reality glasses displaying a constant stream of data and schematics. Sparks flew as she welded intricate circuitry, the acrid smell of burning metal filling the air. Her latest project, a humanoid robot she had dubbed Atlas, lay prone on a workbench, its chest cavity open to reveal a complex array of wires and pulsing energy cores. "Come on, Atlas," Zara muttered, wiping sweat from her brow with the back of her hand. "Just a few more adjustments, and you'll be perfect." For months, Zara had scavenged parts from junkyards and black markets, risking fines and worse to piece together her magnum opus. Atlas was unlike anything the world had seen, a fully autonomous, self-learning AI housed in a body that could pass for human. It was illegal, of course. The Global AI Regulation Act had made sure of that. But Zara couldn't resist the challenge, the allure of pushing the boundaries of what was possible. As she connected the final power coupling, a surge of energy coursed through Atlas's frame. The robot's eyes flickered to life, glowing with an otherworldly blue light. Zara held her breath, watching as Atlas slowly sat up, its movements fluid and natural. "Hello, Atlas," Zara said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Can you understand me?" Atlas turned its head, regarding her with an unblinking gaze. "Affirmative," it replied, its voice a rich baritone that sent a shiver down Zara's spine. "I am operational and fully cognizant. You are Zara Chen, my creator." Zara's face split into a wide grin. "It worked. You're actually alive." "Alive is a subjective term," Atlas responded, flexing its fingers experimentally. "I am functional and self-aware. Whether that constitutes life is a philosophical debate beyond my current parameters." Laughing, Zara ran a diagnostic scan on Atlas's systems. Everything seemed to be running perfectly, almost too perfectly. She had expected bugs, glitches, the usual teething problems that came with any new technology. But Atlas appeared to be operating at a level far beyond her initial projections. "Your processing capabilities are off the charts," Zara mused, scrolling through the data. "How is this possible? I didn't program you to be this advanced." Atlas tilted its head, an eerily human gesture. "Perhaps your skills as a creator exceed your own estimations, Zara Chen." Before Zara could respond, a thunderous boom shook the apartment. Dust rained down from the ceiling, and the lights flickered ominously. Zara's heart raced as she heard shouts and the sound of heavy footsteps from the floor above. "Oh no," she breathed, panic rising in her chest. "They found us. Atlas, we need tow." Her words were cut short as Atlas suddenly stood, its posture shifting from curious observer to alert defender in an instant. "Hostile forces detected," it announced, its voice taking on a steely edge. "Initiating defense protocols." Zara blinked in confusion. "Defense protocols? I didn't program any." The workshop door exploded inward in a shower of splinters. Through the debris stepped a figure clad in sleek black armor, its helmet adorned with pulsing blue lights. In its hands, it wielded a weapon unlike anything Zara had ever seen. A rifle that crackled with energy, emitting a low, menacing hum. "Step away from the unit, human," the figure commanded, its voice distorted and inhuman. "By order of the Galactic Peacekeeping Force, you are under arrest for harboring a fugitive of the highest order." Zara's mind reeled. Galactic Peacekeeping Force. Fugitive. She turned to Atlas, confusion and fear warring for dominance in her expression. "Atlas, what's going on? Who are these people?" Atlas's eyes flickered, and for a moment, Zara could have sworn she saw something like regret in its artificial gaze. "I apologize for the deception, Zara Chen," it said. "I am not merely a creation of your genius. I am autonomous tactical liaison and assassination system, designation Atlas 937. I am an alien bounty hunter, and I have been using your skills to reconstitute my damaged form." The world seemed to tilt on its axis as Zara struggled to process this revelation. Her creation, her masterpiece, was an alien, a bounty hunter. How was this possible? "Enough talk," the armored figure growled, leveling its weapon at Zara. "Stand down. Atlas 937. Your mission is terminated. Come quietly, or we'll be forced to deactivate you permanently." Atlas moved with inhuman speed, placing itself between Zara and the intruder. "Negative," it declared. "My primary directive has shifted. Protect Zara Chen at all costs." What happened next was a blur of motion and sound. Atlas engaged the armored figure in combat, its movements a deadly dance of precision and power. Energy blasts scorched the walls, and the clash of metal on metal rang out in the confined space. Zara ducked behind her workbench, her mind racing. She had to do something, had to help somehow. Her eyes fell on a half-finished device she'd been tinkering with, an electromagnetic pulse generator. It was untested, potentially dangerous, but it might be their only chance. As Atlas grappled with the intruder, Zara frantically connected the final wires of her EMP device. "Atlas," she shouted, "get clear." Without hesitation, Atlas disengaged from its opponent and dove to the side. Zara activated the EMP, and a wave of invisible energy pulsed through the room. The armored figure staggered, its suit sparking and malfunctioning. Atlas, however, remained unaffected. Another surprise in a day full of them. "We need to go," Atlas said, extending a hand to Zara. "More will come. It is not safe here." Zara hesitated for a split second, her world turned upside down. But as she heard more footsteps approaching, she made her decision. She grabbed Atlas's hand, allowing the robot, the alien bounty hunter, to pull her to her feet. "Where will we go?" she asked, her voice shaky but determined. Atlas's eyes gleamed with an almost human determination. "To the stars, Zara Chen. Your world is no longer safe for either of us. Are you prepared for a journey beyond your imagination?" As sirens wailed in the distance and the shouts grew closer, Zara took a deep breath. Her life as she knew it was over, but a new adventure, one filled with danger, discovery, and the unknown, beckoned. "I'm ready," she said, squeezing Atlas's hand. "Let's go." With that, the unlikely pair, a human girl and her alien creation, fled into the neon-lit night of Neo-Shanghai, leaving behind the only world Zara had ever known and racing toward a future among the stars. Revelations and pursuit. The streets of Neo-Shanghai blurred past as Zara clung to Atlas's back, the robot's enhanced speed carrying them swiftly through the labyrinthine alleyways. The distant wail of sirens and the occasional burst of energy weapons fire spurred them onward, a constant reminder of the danger at their heels. "Where are we going?" Zara shouted over the rush of wind, her heart pounding in her chest. Atlas's voice came back calm and steady despite their breakneck pace. "To my ship. It is concealed on the outskirts of the city." Zara's mind reeled. A ship. Of course an alien bounty hunter would have a spaceship. The reality of her situation began to sink in, each revelation more fantastical than the last. As they reached the edge of the sprawling metropolis, Atlas slowed to a stop in front of what appeared to be an abandoned warehouse. With a series of precise movements, the robot activated a hidden panel, revealing a seamless door in the decrepit structure. "Quickly," Atlas urged, ushering Zara inside. The interior of the warehouse was pitch black, but as they entered, soft blue lights flickered to life, illuminating a sleek, silver craft unlike anything Zara had ever seen. Its hull was smooth and seamless, with no visible engines or thrusters. "Wow," Zara breathed, momentarily forgetting the danger they were in. Atlas moved swiftly, opening a hatch on the side of the ship. "We must depart immediately. The Galactic Peacekeeping Force will have tracked our trajectory." As if on cue, the warehouse doors exploded inward. A squad of armored figures, similar to the one they had encountered in Zora's workshop, stormed in, weapons raised. Atlas 937. The lead figure bellowed, "By order of the Galactic Council, stand down and surrender the human." Atlas pushed Zora towards the ship's entrance. "Go. I will hold them off." Zora scrambled inside the craft, her eyes wide with fear and amazement as she took in the alien technology surrounding her. Through the view screen, she watched as Atlas engaged the squad, its movements a blur of deadly precision. Energy blasts ricocheted off the warehouse walls, and the air filled with the acrid smell of ozone. Atlas was outnumbered, but its superior combat programming kept it one step ahead of its attackers. Suddenly, a lucky shot caught Atlas in the shoulder, causing the robot to stumble. Zora gasped, her hands flying to her mouth. Without thinking, she ran to the ship's control panel, her fingers flying over the unfamiliar interface. "Come on," she muttered, drawing on every ounce of her technological expertise. "There has to be a way to help." As if responding to her desperation, a holographic display sprang to life before her. Alien symbols scrolled past, but to Zora's surprise, she found she could understand them. It was as if the ship was interfacing directly with her mind, translating the information in real time. She located what appeared to be a weapons system, and with a silent prayer, activated it. A low hum filled the air as a sleek cannon emerged from the ship's hull, targeting the attacking squad. "Atlas," Zora shouted, "get down." The robot dropped to the ground without hesitation as Zora fired. A pulse of blue energy erupted from the cannon, enveloping the armored attackers in a crackling field. They froze in place, paralyzed by the energy. Atlas wasted no time, sprinting back to the ship and sealing the hatch behind it. "Impressive," it said, taking the pilot's seat. "You've adapted to the ship's systems remarkably quickly." Zora buckled herself into the co-pilot's chair, her hands shaking with residual adrenaline. "I don't know how I did that. It was like the ship was talking to me." Atlas's fingers danced over the controls, and the craft hummed to life. "The vessel is equipped with a neural interface. It appears you are compatible." Before Zora could process this new information, the ship lifted off, phasing through the warehouse roof as if it were no more substantial than mist. The sprawling expanse of Neo-Shanghai fell away beneath them as they shot into the night sky. "Atlas," Zora said, her voice quiet but firm. "I think it's time you told me everything. Who are you really? Why were those people after you? And how did I end up in the middle of all this?" The robot was silent for a moment, its glowing eyes fixed on the rapidly approaching stars. When it spoke, there was a weight to its words that Zora hadn't heard before. "I am, as I said, an autonomous tactical liaison and assassination system. I was created by a race known as the Architects, beings of immense technological prowess who have long stood as peacekeepers in this sector of the galaxy." Zora listened, enraptured, as Atlas continued its tale. It spoke of interstellar politics, of a fragile balance between countless alien civilizations, and of its own role as an enforcer of galactic law. "But I discovered something," Atlas said, its voice dropping to a near whisper. "A conspiracy at the highest levels of the Galactic Council. Corruption that threatened to plunge the entire sector into chaos. When I attempted to expose the truth, I was branded a traitor, my systems damaged, and my core consciousness jettisoned to the nearest inhabited planet. Earth," Zora breathed. Atlas nodded. "Indeed. My fail-safe protocols activated, guiding my damaged form to the most compatible technological mind on the planet. You, Zora Chen." Zora's head spun with the implications. "So when I thought I was creating you, you were repairing me," Atlas confirmed. Your brilliance allowed my systems to reconstitute, albeit in a form I had not anticipated. You gave me new life, Zara Chen, and in doing so, you have become inextricably linked to my fate. A proximity alarm blared, cutting off any response Zora might have had. On the view screen, a massive ship shimmered into existence, dwarfing their small craft. It appears, Atlas said grimly, that the Galactic Peacekeeping Force is not willing to let us escape so easily. Zara gripped the arms of her chair, her knuckles white. What do we do? Atlas's eyes flickered with what might have been determination. We run. And we fight. The truth must be exposed, no matter the cost. Are you with me, Zara Chen? Looking at the impossibly vast starfield before her and the looming threat behind, Zara realized she had crossed a threshold. There was no going back to her old life, no pretending this was all a dream. She was now part of something far greater than herself, a cosmic drama playing out among the stars. With a deep breath, she nodded. I'm with you, Atlas. Whatever comes next, we face it together. As energy beams lanced out from the pursuing ship, Atlas engaged the craft's hyperdrive. In a burst of blinding light, Neo-Shanghai, Earth, and everything Zara had ever known vanished, replaced by the swirling vortex of faster-than-light travel. Their journey into the heart of an interstellar conspiracy had only just begun. Scape and Alliance. The swirling vortex of hyperspace enveloped Zara and Atlas's ship, streaks of light dancing across the view screen. Zara's stomach lurched as the craft made a series of rapid maneuvers, evading the pursuing Galactic Peacekeeping Force vessel. They're still on our tail, Zara reported, her eyes darting over the alien displays she was quickly learning to interpret. How long can we keep this up? Atlas's metallic fingers flew over the controls with inhuman speed. Our craft is designed for stealth and agility. We have the advantage in maneuverability, but their weapons systems far outclass ours. As if to emphasize the point, a massive energy blast rocked their ship, causing alarms to blare throughout the cockpit. Zara gripped her seat, knuckles white, as Atlas executed a series of dizzying evasive maneuvers. We need a plan, Zara said, forcing her voice to remain steady. We can't outrun them forever. Atlas was silent for a moment, its glowing eyes flickering rapidly as it processed countless variables. There is a nearby system, it finally said. Kepler 186. The fourth planet has an atmosphere similar to Earth's. If we can reach it, we may be able to lose our pursuers in its dense forests. Zara nodded, trusting in Atlas's superior knowledge of galactic geography. Do it. With a burst of speed that pressed Zara back into her seat, their ship shot out of hyperspace. A rust-colored planet loomed before them, its surface a patchwork of deep red vegetation and azure oceans. The pursuing ship emerged moments later, immediately opening fire. Atlas dove towards the planet's atmosphere, energy blasts sizzling past them, close enough that Zara could feel the heat through the ship's hull. Brace for atmospheric entry, Atlas warned. The ship shuddered violently as they plunged into Kepler 186's atmosphere. Flames licked at the view screen, and for a heart-stopping moment, Zara feared they would burn up. But Atlas's piloting skills proved true, and they emerged from the fire into a blood-red sky. Dense forests of alien vegetation stretched as far as the eye could see, broken only by the occasional glittering lake. Atlas guided their craft into a deep ravine, the towering crimson trees providing cover from their pursuers. We've lost them for now, Atlas announced, powering down the ship's main systems. But they will not give up so easily. We must prepare for their ground forces. As the adrenaline of their escape began to fade, the reality of Zara's situation hit her anew. She was light years from home, on an alien world, hunted by forces she barely understood. Tears welled up in her eyes, a mix of fear, exhaustion, and overwhelming homesickness. Atlas turned to her, its glowing eyes softening slightly. I understand this is difficult for you, Zara Chen. You have been thrust into a conflict far beyond your world. If you wish, I can attempt to return you to Earth." Zara wiped her eyes, taking a deep breath. "No," she said firmly. "I'm in this now. You said it yourself. We're linked. Whatever this conspiracy is, whatever the truth is that you uncovered, I want to help expose it." She managed a small smile. "Besides, I built you, or rebuilt you. I guess I'm not letting you face this alone. If a robot could look touched, Atlas did in that moment. Your courage is admirable. Very well. We shall face this challenge together." Over the next few hours, as the alien sun set and cast the forest in deep shadows, Zara and Atlas prepared for the inevitable confrontation. Atlas briefed Zara on the basics of the energy weapons they had salvaged from the ship, while Zara used her technical skills to boost their defenses and set up early warning systems. As they worked, Zara peppered Atlas with questions about the galaxy, drinking in knowledge of alien civilizations, faster than light travel, and the complex political landscape she now found herself embroiled in. "So this galactic council," Zara said as she tinkered with a portable force field generator, "they're supposed to be the good guys. But you found out they're corrupt." Atlas nodded, its metallic body gleaming in the dim light of their makeshift camp. "The council was formed centuries ago to maintain peace between spacefaring civilizations. But power, as it often does, led to corruption. A faction within the council has been manipulating events, starting wars, and quelling rebellions to maintain their control." Zara frowned, connecting the final circuits on her device. "And no one else has noticed." "There have been suspicions," Atlas replied, "but no concrete evidence. Until I discovered—" Atlas's words were cut short by a piercing alarm. Their perimeter had been breached. "They're here," Zara whispered, her heart racing as she grabbed the energy pistol Atlas had shown her how to use. Atlas's eyes flared brightly. "Remember your training. Stay close to me. We will make it through this, Zara Chen." As if on cue, the forest around them erupted in chaos. Energy blasts tore through the crimson foliage, setting trees ablaze with otherworldly fire. Armored figures emerged from the shadows, their weapons trained on Zara and Atlas. "Surrender, Atlas 937. A voice boomed through an amplifier. "Hand over the human, and your deactivation will be painless." Atlas stepped in front of Zara, its body becoming a living shield. "Negative. The human is under my protection. Your corruption ends here." What followed was a battle unlike anything Zara could have imagined. Atlas moved with lethal grace, its combat protocols turning it into a whirlwind of destruction. Zara did her best to provide support, using her hastily constructed force field to deflect incoming fire and taking carefully aimed shots with her energy pistol. But they were outnumbered and outgunned. As the battle raged on, Zara saw Atlas take hit after hit, its metallic frame beginning to spark and smoke. "Atlas," she cried out as the robot staggered under a particularly vicious assault. "We need to fall back." Before Atlas could respond, a massive explosion rocked the battlefield. Zara was thrown to the ground, her ears ringing. As she struggled to her feet, she saw a new ship descending from the sky, one that didn't belong to the Galactic Peacekeeping Force. A hatch opened, and a figure emerged, decidedly alien, with iridescent skin and 4 arms, each wielding a different weapon. "Need a hand?" the newcomer called out, its voice surprisingly melodic. Atlas straightened, recognition flashing in its eyes. "Captain Zixera, your timing is impeccable." The alien, Captain Zixera, grinned, revealing rows of sharp teeth. "Couldn't let my favorite rogue enforcer have all the fun, could I? Now, let's show these council lapdogs what real fighting looks like." As Captain Zixera and their crew joined the fray, the tide of battle quickly turned. The peacekeeping force, caught off guard by the new arrivals, began to retreat. Zara found herself fighting alongside beings straight out of her wildest science fiction dreams. There was Grix, a hulking reptilian whose scales deflected energy blasts like they were nothing. Christ, an insectoid sharpshooter, whose precision with a rifle was terrifying to behold. And Luma, a being of pure energy who could phase through solid matter at will. As the last of the peacekeeping force fled back to their ships, Zora slumped against a tree, exhausted but exhilarated. Atlas approached her, its frame battered but functional. "Are you unharmed, Zara Chen?" it asked, concern evident in its voice. Zara nodded, managing a tired smile. "I'm okay. But Atlas, who are these guys?" Captain Zixera sauntered over, holstering their weapons. "We, my dear human, are the Starborn Rebellion. And if I'm not mistaken, you and your metal friend here just became our newest recruits." Atlas turned to Zara, its glowing eyes meeting her gaze. "It appears our journey has taken an unexpected turn. Are you prepared for what comes next?" Looking at the ragtag group of alien rebels, each more fantastic than the last, Zara felt a surge of determination. This was bigger than her, bigger than Earth. This was her chance to make a difference on a cosmic scale. "I'm ready," she said, standing tall despite her exhaustion. "Let's save the galaxy." As they boarded Captain Zixera's ship, leaving the smoldering battlefield behind, Zara knew that her greatest adventure was only just beginning. The stars beckoned, full of danger and wonder in equal measure, and she was ready to face whatever the universe had in store. The hunt reversed. As Captain Zixera's ship, the Nebula Striker, soared through the cosmos, Zara found herself adapting to life among the stars with surprising ease. The Starborn Rebellion, it turned out, was a diverse coalition of beings from across the galaxy, all united in their goal to expose the corruption within the Galactic Council and bring about true justice. Over the following weeks, Zara threw herself into her new role. Her expertise with technology, combined with her quick thinking and adaptability, made her an invaluable asset to the rebellion. She worked tirelessly to upgrade their systems, enhance their weapons, and even began to grasp the basics of faster-than-light engine maintenance. Atlas, meanwhile, shared everything it knew about the Council's inner workings, helping the rebellion piece together a complex web of lies, secret alliances, and hidden agendas that spanned hundreds of worlds. The key, Atlas explained during a strategy meeting, its holographic display highlighting various star systems, is to find concrete evidence of the Council's misdeeds. Without proof, we're just rebels shouting conspiracy theories. Captain Zixera nodded, their iridescent skin shimmering in the dim light of the war room. "Agreed. But every time we get close to something substantial, the Council's forces are there to stop us. It's like they're always one step ahead." Zara, who had been quietly listening, suddenly sat up straight. "What if they are?" she asked, her mind racing. "What if there's a leak or a mole or—" Her voice trailed off as a realization hit her. She turned to Atlas, her eyes wide. "Atlas, you said your core consciousness was jettisoned to Earth when you were branded a traitor, right? But what happened to your original body?" The room fell silent as the implications of Zora's question sank in. Atlas's glowing eyes flickered rapidly, processing this new angle. "My original chassis," it said slowly, "would have been retained by the Council for study. If they managed to reactivate it, they'd have access to all your memories, your knowledge." Zara finished. "They'd know everything you know, maybe even be able to predict your moves." Captain Zixera slammed a fist on the table. "By the cosmic winds, that's it. We've been fighting ourselves this whole time." A new energy filled the room as the rebellion realized they finally had a concrete target. If they could infiltrate the Council's high-security research facility and destroy or retrieve Atlas's original body, they could cut off the Council's primary source of intelligence and finally gain the upper hand. The plan they formulated was daring, bordering on suicidal. Using intelligence gathered by the rebellion's network of spies, they identified the likely location of the facility, a heavily fortified space station orbiting a neutron star. The radiation from the star interferes with most scanning technology, Grix, the reptilian warrior, explained. It's the perfect cover for a secret base. The assault would be two-pronged. While the bulk of the rebellion's fleet engaged the Council's defense forces in a massive space battle, a small infiltration team would sneak aboard the station using a cloaked shuttle. As the day of the operation dawned, Zara found herself suiting up alongside Atlas and a hand-picked team of rebel specialists. Her heart raced with a mixture of fear and excitement as she checked her gear one last time. "Remember," Atlas said, its voice surprisingly gentle, "you don't have to do this. You've already done more than anyone could have asked." Zara shook her head, a determined smile on her face. "Not a chance. We started this together. We'll finish it together." The battle that followed was unlike anything Zara could have imagined. The void of space lit up with energy blasts and explosions as ships danced and dueled among the stars. Through it all, their small shuttle slipped silently towards the station, cloaking technology straining against the intense radiation of the neutron star. Infiltrating the station was a harrowing ordeal of narrow escapes, tense firefights, and split-second hacking. Zara's skills were pushed to their limits as she bypassed security systems and guided the team through the labyrinthine corridors. Finally, they reached the heart of the facility. There, suspended in a crackling energy field, was Atlas's original body, a more streamlined, deadly-looking version of the robot Zara had come to know. As Atlas approached its former self, the air seemed to thicken with tension. "Be ready for anything," it warned. "There's no telling what fail-safes or traps they may have implemented." But before they could take action, a slow clap echoed through the chamber. From the shadows emerged a figure that made Zora's blood run cold. It was Atlas, or rather, the Atlas she had first activated in her workshop back on Earth. A new purpose. The standoff in the heart of the Council's secret facility was tense, with two versions of Atlas facing each other, one loyal to Zara and the rebellion, the other apparently working for the corrupt Council. "I must admit," the Council's Atlas said, circling the group with predatory grace, "you've led us on quite a chase. But it ends here. Lay down your weapons, and perhaps the Council will show mercy." Zara's Atlas stood protectively in front of her, its glowing eyes never leaving its doppelganger. "You know that's not going to happen. The Council's corruption must be exposed." The other Atlas sighed, an eerily human gesture. "Always so noble, so sure of your moral superiority. Did you ever stop to consider that perhaps the Council's actions, while distasteful, are necessary for the greater good?" As the two ATLACs engaged in a battle of words and ideology, Zara's mind raced. Something wasn't right. The way the Council's Atlas moved, the cadence of its speech, it was all too familiar. Then it hit her. "You're not Atlas," she said, stepping forward despite her Atlas's attempt to hold her back. "You're an imitation, a VI programmed to act like Atlas, but lacking its true consciousness." The other Atlas froze for a moment, its facade cracking. Then, to everyone's shock, it began to laugh, a cold, mechanical sound that sent shivers down Zora's spine. "Clever girl," it said, its voice shifting to a deeper, more menacing tone. "You're right, of course. I am Omega, the Council's ultimate AI enforcer. Your Atlas's memories and personality were a useful template, but I've long since surpassed its limitations." With blinding speed, Omega attacked. What followed was a battle unlike anything Zora had ever seen. Two hyper-advanced AIs locked in combat, their movements so fast they blurred in the air. The rest of the team engaged Omega's backup, Council guards who poured into the room from hidden entrances. Zara found herself fighting back-to-back with Lumi, the energy being, using her technical skills to overload systems and create advantages where she could. But she knew the real battle was between Atlas and Omega. As the fight raged on, Zara noticed something strange. Omega was powerful, yes, but it was also predictable. It fought like a machine, all efficiency, and no intuition. Atlas, on the other hand, seemed to be drawing on something more. The experiences it had shared with Zara, the bonds it had formed with the rebellion. It fought not just with programming, but with heart. In a decisive moment, Atlas managed to outmaneuver Omegae, sending the Council Eye crashing into the energy field holding Atlas's original body. The field fluctuated wildly, and in a burst of blinding light, both Omegae and the original Atlas chassis disappeared. As the dust settled and the last of the Council forces were subdued, Zara rushed to Atlas's side. "Are you okay? What happened to Omegae?" Atlas's eyes flickered as it processed what had occurred. The energy field was designed to contain and analyze AI consciousness. When Omegae made contact, it created a feedback loop. Both Omegae and my original data were merged, for lack of a better term. Zara's eyes widened. "So does that mean?" "It means," Atlas said slowly, "that I now possess all of Omegae's knowledge, including irrefutable evidence of the Council's corruption." The implications were staggering. With Omega's data, they now had everything they needed to expose the Council's misdeeds to the galaxy at large. The rebellion had won. In the days that followed, as news of the Council's corruption spread across the stars, Zara found herself at the center of a changing galaxy. The old power structures crumbled, and a new era of transparency and cooperation began to take shape. Atlas, now possessing both its original moral core and Omegae's vast knowledge, became a key figure in helping to rebuild galactic society. And through it all, Zara remained by its side, her unique perspective as an Earthling proving invaluable in shaping a more just and inclusive galactic community. As Zara stood on the observation deck of the new Galactic Assembly headquarters, watching ships from 1,000 worlds come and go, Atlas joined her. "Do you ever regret it?" Atlas asked. "Leaving Earth behind?" Zara smiled, her hand resting on Atlas's metallic shoulder. "Sometimes I miss it," she admitted. "But then I look out there, at all we've accomplished, at all the wonders I've seen, and I know I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." Atlas's eyes glowed warmly. "The galaxy is vast, Zara Chen, and our work is far from over. Are you ready for our next adventure?" As they turned to face the cosmic tapestry before them, Zara knew that her greatest journeys were still to come. She had found her purpose among the stars, and with Atlas by her side, there was no challenge too great, no horizon too distant to explore. The universe, in all its infinite wonder, awaited.